All right, we're back with HippoJuice numbers 954-573-2780. That's 954-573-2780. And we are joined by the wonderful Otto and George. How are you, Otto?
Hey!
Oh, hold on. He had to call back again.
There he is.
All right, now we're...
Hey, Otto, how are you?
I'm here.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm fine. Who's this?
It's Royce. We're all live on the air. That's how we work it in podcast world. We don't have fancy call screeners.
Congratulations on your show.
Oh.
You're huge. Where are you guys, in Florida?
Yeah, we're down. Well, we have three of us are here in Florida. One of our members is in Atlanta on Skype, and the other one is in Colorado Springs. So we're nationwide.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, we're everywhere. We do our best, but we do appreciate you calling in. We are all actually big fans of yours.
Thanks. I'm actually doing 3 podcasts later on. I'm doing Rhino Snot at 8:30 and Monkey Com at 10.
Oh, perfect. That's great. You know what? First off,
now I feel used.
You know, I kind of feel hurt. But then I remember he's a ventriloquist, so then I feel better.
Right? Allegedly.
No, you're not allegedly of it. I mean, you are. But no, I am a big fan of the pig roast. It's really a really good show. It has well, first off, let's give the plug. Where do they go to check out the pig roast, Otto?
www.pigroast.tv. 3 W's and then pigroast.tv. It's a new thing for me, interviewing people. I'm still learning. It's only as good as the guests are. Like comedians don't really make good interviews, so I've been trying to
tell me about it.
All comedians, even though that's all I know. But we got some reality stars on, and then just some oddballs. We had a contortionist lady and a fire eater and shit like that. Those wingnut people usually are good interviews. You know?
Yeah, one of my favorites that I saw was the guy that was laying on the bed of nails and the broken glass.
Yeah,
guy was crazy.
Yeah, that guy. What did he call himself?
Captain Adventure
Boy or some
Professor.
shit like. He was very specific about his name.
I'm pretty sure he was a professor.
Professor Adventure. There it is.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Dr. Adventure Professor. Yeah, he was real. Got pissed off. I didn't get it right. I still don't have it right, I don't think.
And he had a sidekick.
Did he really have his doctorate's degree, or is that just a name?
Nah, he's just a high threshold of pain, I guess.
And he had a sidekick that didn't say anything, and you called him out for being like Penn and Teller, but the guy's like, no, I just have a sore throat.
Yeah. It was actually... It was actually... I like the show. I think it's great. I think you were telling me that there's one coming up where you guys all flash back to the 70s.
Yeah, it's going to have a different look, like it's an old grainy show, and we're pretending it was filmed in the 70s, even though we all look exactly the same. We all just put afros on and a lot of polyester, and then we interviewed an Elvis guy, like it was really Elvis, and a Travolta, and I think a Cher imitator, and then we were just pretending it was 1977, and so that was kind of fun to do. We had coke everywhere on record albums. In those days, we used to snort coke off record albums and clean pot off record albums. It's very hard to clean an ounce of pot off a CD cover. I don't know if you've ever tried that.
Why don't you do an early 60s one and bust out the fire hoses and German Shepherds? I think that'll be one of the highest rated ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's funny.
It'll be edgy at least. At least you're gonna get edgy.
Just let the puppet do it.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the puppet does it, you can't get in trouble, right? That's the way it works.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can still get your ass kicked. I had a couple of problems with some mafia guys when I used to work in Brooklyn at Pips, where I had to actually wait upstairs until they left, and I was extorted outside by a cop. They wanted to kill me.
What did you say to them?
It was probably just some, standard crowd work. But those guys, if you catch them in a bad mood, they'll just kill you. They don't even have a problem with that. There were real hoods hanging around in those days. Pips was a good club, but it was a tough room. All the comics from the city were were like looked down at guys that played pips, but they were secretly jealous because they couldn't play that role. They would eat somebody like Paul Reiser. They would eat him alive. He had to be really good to perform there.
Well, I'm pretty sure you nailed them with like a comeback when he was heckling, like, sir, I don't like your attitude, and he got really mad at that. I don't care for your tone.
So I mean, you guys have sponsors for the show? Is that how you work it?
Yeah, we have a few sponsors. That's how we work it. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not rolling in dough or anything, but it's enough to maintain.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do to get season 2 done. The company Bashbox put up the money to shoot the show. So if we do a season 2, it'll mean that we've picked up some sponsors. Otherwise, why are we doing it? It's not, like you said, it's not about the money, but you need that just to cover the costs. We high def cameras and editing and all that shit.
No, yeah.
Well, you're
I want a producer to get you some sponsors. I'm willing to do it because I don't want to work with these guys anymore.
Hey, Dutch, you know what? Don't jump ship like that.
He's jumping ship.
Yeah, you're such an ass, Dutch.
How do you think How do you think this producer found our show? He left the worst show to come to us. That show was amazing. Right? You better watch your mouth, sir.
He's failing downwards. We got another show where he interviewed the guys from a show called Rescue Inc.
Mm-hmm.
These biker guys that save pit bulls from crack houses and stuff. Yeah, that was fun. They were real heroic guys to me. I hate animal abuse, so I really like talking to them. They were good.
Then you wouldn't want Dutch as your producer because he loves abusing animals.
And by the way, Dutch also vehemently hates the troops.
No, I don't.
You said
he hates the troops.
not all of them. Not all of them. He likes the Taliban, but hates American troops.
I don't.
Yes, you did.
Wow.
Dutch's exact quote was, "God, I wish they would have got more box cutters on planes." That was on 9/11. He said that, and I was like, "Dutch, man, come on, dude. I mean, it's a good thing you do good production work, because if not, we wouldn't have you."
That's very unpopular sentiment. I guess you just want to see who's patriotic enough to kill you and stuff. When the space shuttle blew up, I said, like the day after, I said I thought it would have looked better at night, and I got booed and pissed for that. It was horrible, But you gotta say stuff like that, why not?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel if I'm not offending a few people, I'm not doing my job as a comedian,
Now, have you ever had anybody get mad at the puppet?
Yeah. There's a famous stabbing in Central Park where I don't know. He was a Puerto Rican guy. He had a knife.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
That sounds out of character for Puerto Ricans.
Really Puerto Rican, huh?
Get all the jokes out. Let me finish the story.
Next thing you're gonna tell me is that he was driving an '88 Camry with a crown on the dashboard.
I think he was on angel dust or some weird drug like that because he was giving that 90-mile stare to the puppet, and then he just jumped out of the crowd and screamed El Diablo and stabbed George and cut my hand, which was holding the head stick then, and I was bleeding, but I didn't know. I guess when you get sliced, you don't feel anything, but later on, I pulled my hand out and it was bleeding pretty badly. But I've only told that story maybe once, and it's just reverberated, and people always, I'll mention that, and I'll be in a state that I've never been to, and they know about that story. It's, I guess when things go badly, it makes a good story later. When you do a gig and everything went good and the directions are good and the audience laughed, it doesn't make much of a story. It's only the shitty nights that become great stories later.
Well, I mean, how do you? Because I read a quote somewhere that I think it was Penn Jillette said that you were one of the best ventriloquists in the world, and
yeah, he kind of takes me. Yeah. Yeah,
I know. I know you were on his TV show Bullshit in an episode. I remember seeing you on that as well.
Yeah, I was also in a show he had on the FX channel called Sin City Spectacular for a while back, and then the movie The Aristocrats. He was the producer of that as well.
Yeah, that was great. That was actually a great movie. But now, what do you think of other ventriloquists? Like, for example, Jeff Dunham. Like, he's gotten pretty big on the ventriloquist act.
Jeff Dunham is huge. It helps my cause. I guess. I mean, I was influenced by a guy named Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney when I was a kid. They had a TV show, and that was a life-changing experience. I guess the thing is, I can't. If I was still like a little kid, I would probably watch Jeff Dunham in awe. But I guess you lose that ability to watch something unobjectively and just enjoy it. Where when I watch him now, I'm thinking about how much he's making, how far I am behind him, and I'm over analytical rather than just enjoy what he does, which is great. So you kind of lose that, Same thing with stand-ups. You instead of just watching and digging what the guy has to say, you're analyzing it or comparing. If one of your bits is too similar to theirs, do I have to edit it? You know what I mean? You can't just enjoy the show that precedes you, which is you kind of lose that,
I know exactly what you mean. It kind of breaks the fourth wall. Like when I first met a puppet, I realized, oh my God, there's a hand controlling it.
Well, you're a dumb bitch.
Really?
She's so stupid.
No, she's just dumb.
She's dumb as shit. Now, the other thing is, what did you? Because at least from watching the pig roast, were you big into like sideshows and stuff like that? Because it seems like a lot of the acts are kind of like those old school sideshow acts, like the glass guy, like I said, and stuff like that. And the contortionist.
Yeah, I mean, where else are they going to go? There's no Ed Sullivan show. Where else is someone like that going to perform?
Well, the Glipston.
There's no more 10 side shows, really. It's amazing that anybody even does something like that. Unless they're a street performer, where are they going to be booked?
Well, down here in Florida,
in a prison.
down here in Florida, there's a town just outside of Tampa called Glipston, I think.
Oh, right, yeah. Is that near Sarasota?
Yeah, it's near Sarasota, and it's basically where it used to be Ringling Brothers' home city, and that's where all the side.
Lobster Boy lived there and stuff. That lobster guy who killed his family or something.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy that lobster.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Lobster
Boy was this guy who's when he was born, his feet and his hands were basically fused together, so that he looked like he had lobster claws. And
freaky.
He couldn't walk because his legs were so messed up, but he had tremendous upper body strength, and he went crazy and basically killed somebody in his family. Then his family killed him. But I digress. There's a city out of
Grady Stills style.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of midgets walking around there, and like they don't get stared at. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, they have the only post office in America the first post office in America to have a counter for midgets, because all the sideshow acts went and retired there. So it's just a circus town, which is kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't visited yet because I'm a little scared. It seems kind of X-File-ish, where
Oh yeah, there's definitely a dark side to the whole carny world. I used to work in a place in Times Square called the Theater of Magic, and there was a 78-year-old woman, Lady Esteline, who was a sword swallower. And she used to swallow a 40-pound U.S. cavalry saber sword with a big, heavy metal handle, and she would put that in her mouth and put both of her hands on her hips and just let it slide down, and people would faint at the thought of that. It was really cool. It was no trick.
So she dated black guys?
Yeah, she dated only colored people. Yeah, and then she told me that she was married to a sword swallower who died because his closing bit was swallowing a fluorescent bulb and then taking a bow, and the fucking thing exploded, and he was killed on stage from shards of glass.
That is amazing.
Duck moment there.
God,
I
I
only do it once.
Ironically, she died choking on a peanut.
That was so weird. Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
He got hit by a bus.
That's got to be the worst thing to watch on stage. Somebody die from broken glass inside of them.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, what was he thinking? Taking a bow on top of it. Jesus.
Well, at least he did take a bow, which was kind of nice.
Took a bow and then he died.
And he said,
no, he didn't do that. But I also see.
I also knew Philippe Petit, that French aerialist who walked across the Twin Towers. He was a street performer in New York at the time that I was doing it. He was a unicyclist and a juggler, and he was awesome. He would draw a circle on the sidewalk in Washington Square Park, and the crowd would stand around the perimeter of the circle. So when the cop would come to chase him once in a while, he would jump into the audience and just stand there. So the cop would break through the circle, and then he'd just be staying there, and there'd just be 200 people standing around with nothing going on in the middle, and then Philippe would just stand there like part of the crowd until the cop left. It was like watching a silent movie. It was pretty cool.
What was that? Really is that the guy? I'm trying to think. Is that the same guy from the documentary Man on the Wire?
Exactly him, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. I think that's a documentary that had the guy falling off when he did the no net trick.
Oh, God, yeah. It's insane what he did. The winds in Lower Manhattan, I don't know how the fuck he did that. And not only that, he crossed back and forth like 8 times and then laid down on the wire at one point. Just insane.
And what was insane? What was
the one where they did it at night? Like they did it more like they had to like do it while the security guards were on their break and that kind of thing. It was like a whole guerrilla operation.
Actually, your voice got a little weird on that last one. It was like an echo kind of thing. Could you repeat that?
Did they do?
I don't think I can. It's my end. Sorry.
Yeah, no. When they do that, I guess when they did that Man on the Wire stuff, they did it at nighttime or when cops weren't around because nothing was sanctioned. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was done illegally. It was planned even while they were still building it. He told me he just thought about like doing it all like 6 inches off the ground. That's how he pictured the whole thing. But I don't know how you can block out the fact that you're a cunt hair away from dying.
I just remember that video with the guy falling off. I just remember that I had it on tape. And
the Melendez? Yeah.
I messed up that tape from rewinding it so many times and laughing so hard.
You laughed? Oh, God, you're horrible.
No, I know. Listen, I understand, but remember, I'm disconnected from the situation. But it was just the funniest thing because when he's falling, you see him put his hand up and desperately try to grab the rope.
Oh, man, yeah. With a flowery shirt on with the puffy sleeves.
It's the worst way to die. It's like...
I don't understand how he does it. I got halfway up a stepladder the other day and a helicopter had to fly me down.
Jesus,
I'm telling you, heights fuck with me too. I can't deal with it. Even in a high building when there's a window, it's still, I don't like looking down. It always seems like you're more stories up than you are.
Yeah, that's called Eric Clapton's kid syndrome, where you're afraid of windows in buildings.
Yeah, what the fuck are they thinking of a ceiling that goes from the ceiling to the floor without a child-proof fence or something? I don't know what they were.
I'll tell you what he was thinking. He was thinking he did 3 Grammys for writing "Tears in Heaven," and he got it.
Yeah, he did, right? Yeah.
So you're welcome.
It's kind of an unforgivable thing, with what they did. Where were the parents? Oh, shoot, scoring heroin or something?
Probably coke. Probably coke if it was Clapton.
Yeah. Fuck.
Now, I see. Switching over to your stand-up, I know that you're performing tomorrow night at Lombardi's Bar and Restaurant, right in New Jersey, Cedar Grove.
Yeah, it's just a crummy one-nighter. I fill up my month with those kind of gigs. That's all that's around right now. The road right now is kind of weird. They don't want to pay for your flight, and I can't lower my price. Once you start lowering your price, you never get it back up. So I'm turning down a lot of road work until the recession, gets better.
Yeah, I also see another one here, and you're doing one the 24th on Friday with Bob Levy. I actually like Levy. He's very funny.
Nice. Levy's incredible.
Actually,
he's incredible.
Levy actually married. See, he's actually going to call in a second. He married one of my co-hosts from one of my other shows, Mersh, in a hotel room, and the marriage lasted 27 days. So.
Really?
He married my buddy Mersh, comedian Mersh, and I think it was in a hotel room. Yeah, it was because I
didn't even know he was married to a comedian, and that lasted 27 days. Jesus.
Yeah, well, whatever, it happens.
Well, no, Levy wasn't married.
Not Levy, Mersh. Levy's a minister, so he could marry people.
You worded that question or that statement wrong, Royce.
Yeah, he's not.
You made it sound like Levy was in a gay marriage with Mersh.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
No one said that Royce was the best at interviewing.
Hey, shut up.
No, that Mersh wasn't gay, so.
Shut up, all of you.
That's all right. He's interviewing what Flashdance was to welding.
Hey, Otto, I have a question. Have you done any stand-up without the puppet?
I have not. Not interested. I find stand-up comedy boring and annoying.
Oh well, yeah.
Too much of it.
Because I've heard you in other interviews where you say, I've heard you in other interviews say that you're tired of your act at this point, and I was just wondering if you maybe thought of just getting up there just with you in the mic rather than doing it with.
No, I would have to go back to square one if I did that. I have somewhat of a following now. That would be ridiculous to do that. I don't think I'd be as good as some, and I might be better than others. But no, you won't be seeing me doing that. Yeah, I just think there's too many comedians doing it badly now. It's not so special anymore.
Can you name names?
Oh God, and just about everybody, except a few that are dead now. What was I going to say? No, I won't. I'm not always tired of my act. I was probably in a rut or a slump when I had said that, or just hungover or something like that.
Something I've realized from every performer and comic we've interviewed, there's one thing that they all have in common: crippling, just horrible self-esteem. I've never seen one go, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. My life is great.
Yeah, it seems to be part of the mental makeup. Seinfeld I knew him pretty good. He was a pretty confident guy. He's an exception, though. And Eddie Murphy, we used to work with him when he was like 16, right before Saturday Night Live, and he was a tremendously confident kid. He used to say, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 21. He would always say that, like, every day, like, before they even had that positive, whatever they call that shit. And he was doing that, and he pulled it off.
Did he ever say that when he grew up he was going to fuck a tranny? Is that something he ever said?
I'm gonna be a millionaire and bang guys with cocks and dresses. Yeah.
See, you know what? Those are
he
great.
He really had a well thought out plan, huh?
And he achieved it. That's crazy. So you worked with Eddie Murphy before he was on SNL?
Yeah. We used to work in this club called the Rainy Night House in Queens, and we would meet at this subway stop, and then we'd have to transfer to a bus. So we'd meet there and take the bus to the gig. And then he was the thing is, when we would drive to a gig, he would always do that thing that black people do when they comb their hair and pat it with one hand and pick it with the other hand. I remember him doing that for an hour before he got out of the car. To the point of just making you want to scream at him, get out of the fucking car already. And then he was notoriously would not chip in for tolls, and he would always fall asleep and snore. It became like a gag for him, like falling asleep conveniently when we got to a toll.
Breaking stereotypes.
Everybody liked him. Nobody was angry that he went from not even being a feature, he went from being the MC to like the biggest star in Hollywood. And nobody was like pissed. It kind of made sense. He was just, something different about that cat.
When was the last time you talked to him?
When 48 Hours came out?
No, I haven't seen him since then. I ran into Adam Sandler since he became big, and we had a good talk. I ran into him and Schneider up by Central Park once, and I hadn't seen him since we were doing gigs for $75, and we caught up. He was obviously doing better than me, but we had to, when you talk to him, he speaks to you like an equal. He doesn't, he doesn't act like a dickhead,
Like Eddie Murphy probably does now. Not that I've never spoken
Eddie
to him.
Murphy, when he made it, he surrounded himself with this black mafia, and all of his friends were white when I knew him. Well, he hung around with all the Long Island guys, Martling and this guy Bob Woods and Dave Hawthorne. Those were his friends. All these, guys who were older than him, white guys, and then suddenly he's the black mafia. What can you do?
I believe the correct term for a black mafia is a posse.
Yes.
He has a posse.
Yes. I stand corrected. Posse. Yep.
He has to walk around with a posse. Yeah, I was actually watching an interview with Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy, and he says that like Charlie's afraid to call him because he'll just cut him off.
Wow, that's fucking very insulting.
No, I know it was an interview. I forgot where I saw it, but he was saying like that's just the way he is. But to be fair though, I think he's probably more approachable after making the last 20 bombs of movies that he made. But
yeah, I was just gonna say that. I mean, if I was Charlie, I wouldn't take his calls. He hasn't done a good movie since Coming to America, really.
Yeah,
I can't remember the last film he's made that I really wanted to own a copy of.
Are you meaning you didn't laugh out loud at Norbit?
Or The Nutty Professor?
Pluto Nash?
Nutty Professor was okay, but I prefer the Jerry Lewis version of it. It wasn't all that prosthetic shit. I guess it was good.
My all-time favorite.
Good. We were being sarcastic.
Was Meet Dave.
Was Nutty Professor. They made a fortune. So how can you tell when you do a piece of shit and it makes $1 billion?
I don't know.
What do you go by?
Did you ask Adam Sandler that?
Or ask Dane Cook?
Oh God!
Or anybody that makes, because that's the thing. it's a lot of the stuff that's you can't go by what's popular now. I mean, they've made 3 Transformer movies. They make money.
I know. I'm telling you, the fucking Police Academy outgrossed Annie Hall, but one is a work of art, and the other one is just a dumb.
And the other one is
celluloid.
And the other one's not Police Academy. I agree with you 100%.
Police Academy was pretty good. I see where you're going with that.
Yes.
I mean,
compared to the other police academies, or compared to a Marx Brothers movie, it's relative.
Yeah, but you know what? That Mahoney, boy, did he get into these schemes.
Oh, Steve Gutenberg.
That's Steve Gutenberg, by the way, amazing.
But it's funny that you mentioned that because The Adventures of Pluto Nash, it had a production budget of $100 million and it made $4 million in a theater.
Really?
How was he not murdered? Yeah, absolutely. It's
because his movies collectively have probably made about $4 billion. So he could make a series of bombs, and he'd still. It's only when your first movie tanks that you're in trouble. He's made a fortune.
Yeah, and he's still gonna make money. I know he has that new movie coming out where he can't talk in it or some shit. What? Yeah. Oh God. It's about a tree with leaves, and when the leaves run out, he
watch him win an Oscar for this.
He's not aging well. He doesn't look good, and I think he's lost his joy of the joy that he used to have when he was younger of performing.
Well, he said he wanted at some point to get back into stand up, and he was supposed to host the Oscars, but then that didn't go through. So
that sucked. I was looking forward to seeing him do the Oscars. That's just bullshit.
Yeah, and by the way, speaking of that stuff, I was going through some of your old stand-up acts, and by the way, the one you did on Letterman was just amazingly good, very, very funny. I know it was a couple years back, but it was very good because you're probably one of the first comics that I've seen actually go after Letterman, and not many of them do that because the guy's a well-known recluse.
He's not like an approachable person. I still didn't get to meet him, even though I was on his show. You're kept, away from him. He never spoke to me except what you saw when he came up after the set. And I figured this is my. If I sit at home and go, "You douchebag," I figured this is my chance to just say it. I knew I wasn't going to be a regular guest. I was only on because it was ventriloquist week, and the way he presented that ventriloquist week was I found a little insulting, like a little condescending.
Yeah, he was trying to make a gag out of it, but I thought you killed it, and I thought the jokes were very very good.
Thanks. Yeah, they told me I could curse up to a point. They just didn't want to have to bleep the whole thing, but I decided to do the whole set without any bleeps, just to prove to myself I could do it.
Yeah.
I have a question here from one of our listeners. Ellison Philly wants to know about you using the Castle Grayskull as a footstand during your monologues on the show.
Wow, a lot of people noticed that. What do they want to know about it?
I don't know. I'm just reading from what our listeners are sending in. He just wants to know, I guess, why or what it's about, I guess?
No reason. Just people. We want it to look like a shitty apartment. It's a set. It's not an actual apartment. Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned that thing, that Grayskull. It's cool. And, I guess they're looking at the D. That's the thing with high def. You see all this shit that you wouldn't see normally. Jesus.
Now I've noticed that you have our good buddy, a good friend of the show, Big A, Andrew, is kind of like your McMahon. Like your McMahon, I guess, is the best way to.
Well, he's just there. He doesn't really say nothing,
right?
But we found out he can sing without stuttering.
Oh, really?
Ah,
that's very impressive.
I don't know if that's all stutterers or just him, but he sings and he's really funny when he texts you. He's got a very fast mind. It's just he's trapped in that stutter.
No, he is. I will tell you, he is probably when you get to know him, and we know him pretty well. He's probably one of the funnier dudes just to hang around with because man, he'll fucking nail you. I mean, he is just ripped into me, and I was.
Oh, that's right, because you were wearing the gayest sweater in America.
I picked out I helped Royce pick out a sweater because he was cold.
All right, let me explain. We went to New York. We went to New York. We were going to be on. We're going to be on a show on XM, and I was like, man, it's fucking cold. From Florida, I don't fucking have a jacket. So we went up there, and then my bitch girlfriend here, Marie.
I thought it was very nice.
We went to a Gap in Times Square, and I bought.
What would you say? You fell into it?
Oh, go fuck yourself.
What color is the sweater?
It was a cardigan sweater. So it had many colors.
It's preppy. It's not gay, I guess. I don't
No,
know.
it was
No, it
pretty.
was gay.
You didn't let him finish. It had two guys blowing each other on it.
Oh, on the.
I don't-
Gap is getting really risky with clothes.
Yeah, I don't know why I wore it. I trusted you, Marie, and it turned out you're a whore.
I thought it was like all European and stuff. Like it's cool over
I thought
there.
it represented masculinity.
No.
Oh man.
Needless to say, Big A was calling his gay sweater gay the rest of the day.
Yeah, I didn't live that one. Yes, thank you. Big A is actually in the chat room. It was a very gay sweater. Thank you, Big A. I really do appreciate it.
The man bathes in urine and he's putting down your fucking garment.
That's when you know you've hit rock bottom.
I have another question here from the chat room. Ellis wants to know, he wants me to ask you about the piglets and to say that Liz is fucking hot.
Liz is great. She's the ringleader of the group. They're great girls. They're you can kid around with them. They're not just like skanky strippers. They're like burlesque dancers. They're great. You know, we wanted to. The creator of the show, Bobby Capelli, wanted to have that Dean Martin feel to it, and I guess there was scantily clad women on there, you know, and I guess Benny Hill is an influence because Benny Hill, you know, was a smart guy. It's like, you know, in any given sketch, there's going to be a hot chick with a boob about to jump out, and you know, you're not going to change the channel when something like that is on TV. You know, we figure we're competing with so much. There's so much content to watch now. You have to grab the audience and hold them with anything you can, you know.
Yeah, but like I said, once again, I mean, I really the reason I like the pig roast so much was because it had kind of I guess the best way to describe it, like an old school feel to it, like a very like an early kind of, you know, kind of variety, like Ed Sullivan-ish kind of thing to it, where I did like that, where you have some legitimate guests, but then you have just weird. Yeah, I'm leaning
people. More towards those kind of guests. And the one thing we want to do more of next season is more of the film sketches. We did one takeoff on To Catch a Predator. We want to do more shit like that and have a lot more of that and some more animations too. We have one animator, but he takes too long, so we're looking to do more stuff like that.
Yeah, the little animation intro is actually pretty neat. For the
it's
show.
So much fun being animated. I can't tell you. You know, I'm a huge fan of animation in general.
Are you looking for a new producer? Because again, I really hate these guys that want to get off the show.
Dutch, first off, he's already said he doesn't like people that hurt animals and hate the troops, so you're not in, Dutch.
I don't hate any of those things.
He doesn't like alcoholics either.
An alcoholic animal abuser?
Yeah.
Well...
Yeah, no.
I don't abuse animals.
He didn't deny being an alcoholic.
I did put a giraffe in a headlock once, but I was drunk at the time, so.
I think anybody given the opportunity would put a giraffe in a headlock.
I mean, how can you not? At some point,
they're asking for it with those necks.
Listen,
I'm putting that in my
scarf,
bucket list
idiot.
right now.
And they're all gay.
All giraffes are gay. All giraffes are gay. Okay, Otto, also, just once again, is this a bigger one? Because this one, Comedy Works in Bristol, PA, March 2nd and 3rd?
Yeah, I mean, that's a regular weekend room. All my dates are on my website, ottoandgeorge.com. And if anybody wants to purchase my DVD, you can go to laugh.com, where they have millions of DVDs and comedy albums. If people are into that, you can buy anything on there.
Yeah, I'm actually checking it out, and like I said, once again, we are all just really big fans of your stand-up, and I haven't had a chance to see you live, so whenever you come back down to Florida, we definitely want to check you out.
For sure. Call me when you're in New York.
Definitely. We might be up in New York end of March for the Shorty Award thing, so we'll definitely let you know.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to meet you guys. Thanks.
Yeah. But we, like I said, you know, but thank you for calling in. We absolutely appreciate it. And
before you go,
it was fun.
Just a bunch of internet celebrities like Pierce talking.
There's a new pig roast on tonight. Actually, there's a new episode airing tonight. It was every Wednesday, but we took a break because the producer got married and he was out of the country.
Before you go, though, I think on pigroast.tv you need one more show. And I feel like we're good friends, so you should have us on your site.
Dutch,
because that's what good friends do.
Dutch.
Okay, if we do season 2, we'll have you on.
That would be great.
You guys are huge.
Because your current producer is off and getting married.
No,
so
here's
I'm
what you
being
do.
a new producer now.
Dutch. You know I have the power to disconnect from you whenever I want.
No, don't do that.
I will say this.
Listen, if Dutch was your producer, you would never have to worry about him getting married because the state doesn't recognize this type of marriage.
We by the way, Otto, we have a listener calling in. Who's calling? Who's this?
It's Mersh. It's sexy Mersh.
Oh, sorry, Marie's on the
Hi,
phone, not
Mersh.
me. Hey, what's up, Mersh boy?
Not much, guys. I just wanted to call and say hi. And Otto absolutely does not remember me, but I opened for him on Long Island like a couple of years ago on New Year's.
Was that for Heather Height?
He does remember.
It was for Dave, but yeah, sure.
Dave and Heather. Yeah, downstairs, right? Down it was like
At the Joker's Wild, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
As you can tell by his tone, they're on the greatest of terms at this point.
No, we're cool. We're not on bad terms. We're just not on fantastic. But I just wanted to say, a lot of people always, ask me like, oh, what's a good show to see? And I always tell them the greatest show I've ever seen. The best live performance I ever watched was that New Year's show for Otto. That was amazing.
Well, to be fair, his number 2 favorite show is an Al Qaeda beheading video. So
there was a woman that night that demanded refunds. She said that the lineup of comedians were the most disgusting group of creeps she ever saw in her life, and we were all high-fiving as they handed her money back. We were like, see the most disgusting homophobic racist? Yeah, all right, I'll take it.
I kind of agree with her. I'm a Paula Poundstone fan myself.
Oh, yeah.
She knows how to tickle a funny bone.
She will allegedly tickle her kids' funny bones all day.
There was a table.
Never refund money because then people who enjoyed the show are going to be lining up to get their mone back. People do that shit. You can't refund money. That's fucked up.
It's not around anymore. But but I remember it was the lady. I'm not even kidding. It was a lady and a group of people about 6 minutes into Otto's set, and they just had already had it with them, and they were out. And it was just, and after a group like us to go up before them, they just were done. It was hilarious.
Our whole night is ruined. The puppet said cocksucker. Let's go, Shirley. Yeah, fucking dumbbells.
Yeah, cocksucker is some of Otto and George's lighter fare.
Lighter fare.
That's the clean stuff. If they go, hey Otto, you want to do a Christian college? If you want to do Brigham Young, he's going with cocksucker.
Bob Levy sent a tape in to the Conan O'Brien show once of the filthiest 30 minutes of shit with cum drinking all this shit, and then puts a note in with the DVD saying can be cleaned up.
Can I ask a question? How much of that tape was audible?
A lot of slurring and fucking long pause as well. He did shots of tequila. Yeah, that's Levy all over.
I gotta take a Percocet. Hang on a second. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, fags.
Yeah, I can tell you no, Bob.
Yeah, I've done Poconos, whatever the fuck it is.
He married your ass.
Yeah, he did. He married me and my ex-wife. That lasted 28 days.
Yeah, we told the
Are
story.
you serious? He's an actual ordained minister. He can marry people.
Him and Dave Harris both married me and my ex-wife.
Fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
that's what I said.
that's a curse right there.
And it lasted 28 days, which ironically is the same amount of time one would spend in rehab. So
It is
Very good.
It is sad when your marriage is only as long as Black History Month.
So anyway, I am literally between like a fiberboard wall and going on as a meeting that I think I'm now being listened to at work. So I'm going to talk to you cunts later. And I just wanted to say hi to Otto. And you're awesome, dude. And I always spread the word about
Good chatting with you again. Thank you, man.
All right, Mercy
Take
Poo. See you
kids.
later. Bye, Mersh.
Bye, Mersh.
Bye, Marsh.
Why did he have to press pound?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He's an idiot.
He's a dummy.
Yeah, did he dial from a corded landline?
Yes, he did. A payphone
That was the
outside.
cleanest landline I've ever heard.
Yes. But yeah, Otto, man, once again, we really do appreciate you coming on. You're welcome on the show whenever you like. Just let us know if you ever want to promote anything. But yeah, we'll definitely hook up when we're up in NY or if you come down here. So
That's short for New York.
Really? I did not know that.
Just for the.
We'll go sweater shopping.
Yeah.
Buy you some fucking.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Thank you. You got a new listener. I'm going to leave you listen. It's every Wednesday, right?
Every Wednesday. And by the way, while Marie buys me more sweaters, I
7
hope
to 9.
Yeah, 7 to 9. While Marie buys more sweaters, I hope she finds a lump in her tit. So go have fun with that, you bitch.
Jesus.
Find a lump. Thank you. Well done, guys. Thanks for the help.
Hey, Otto, no problem, man. Thank you for calling. We really do appreciate
calling
it.
in, dude.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
See ya. Well, I enjoyed having Otto on the phone.
I did as well.
Legendary
He was a
comedian.
lovely guest.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Fucking
he is.
legend.
Yeah, he is. He's just very, very funny.
But I got a question because 2 comedians called in. Who's a bigger comedian, Otto and George or Mersh? Keep in mind, Mersh has a mustache.
Wouldn't that be 3 comedians?
I guess.
2 comedians.
Wow, I loved Mersh's typical, hey, you probably don't remember me. Like he's never heard that a million times.
He's been in the business for like what? How many years now? When did he start? He started when he was like 15.
Well, I mean, he started when Eddie Murphy was 16, so do the math. I mean,
So he's like 80.
he's 85, 86.
80. He's been in the business for 50 years. You know how many opening comedians he's had?
2.
200.
Opening. He only had 2.
Only 2.
And one of them was Lobster Boy for 12 years.
It was either really low or really high number. So.
I bid $1.
Well, once again, the plug that it's the pig roast. The show's actually very funny.
I'm going to be the new producer.
No, you're not.
No. But he said I was.
You're not allowed to go anywhere.
We are sabotaging you for any future. We know you. We got you.
Yeah, thanks for that, by the way, saying I beat animals.
Well, you
Well, you never said you didn't.
You never really
I
defend
did say
yourself.
I didn't.
no. I don't ever remember you going on record